My name is Humberto. I'm a new shooter for the most part. I will compare the Beastgrip 1.7 Tele lens with the Beastgrip 2 times Tele lens. Let's see the differences. In the beginning, there was light. I am impressed with the performance of the iPhone 13 Pro with Beastgrip 1.7 and 2.0 Tele lenses when recording a lit candle. I noticed something important when I looked at the image shot with Beastgrip lenses. Look at the outline of the flame shot without the lens. It looks like a saw blade teeth. The color temperature inside was 4900 Kelvin, but outside was about 7 to 8000 Kelvin. Thanks to that, the owl is warm and the background is bluish. I quite like the way the warm foreground detaches from the cold background. But look at the difference between Promovie and iPhone camera app. iPhone compensates and warms up the background and the foreground, with the result being that the color of the owl is now just wrong. I shot 2 owls with the old 2.0 lens and 2 with the new 1.7 lens. Can you tell which is which? The new 1.7 Tele lens is excellent and I believe is the best lens for iPhone on the market today. But it's not the revolution that Beastgrip and some enthusiastic reviews are saying. My lady is an artist. She has better eyes than I have and notice how the color of this flower was not accurate. The flower is mauve, but iPhone's auto white balance makes it red pinkish. Look at the difference on Promovie with 3500 Kelvin and 6000 Kelvin preset white balance. The 3500 Kelvin image is much better than the iPhone image, but it is still wrong. That's the move. That is the move. Come here, look. That is the move.
Oh yes, yeah, and that's very good. That's excellent. Yeah, lovely.
All right, my love. Thank you for your participation.
And it's the red as well of the.
I got it right with Cinema P3 when I set the white balance to 3590 Kelvin and the tint to minus 70. There is no magic in magic. It's all in the details. This quote is attributed to Walt Disney, but I couldn't confirm it. Anyway, it sounds just right for my experiment with the mauve color of the flower. I bought the 1.7 lens and this is the vignette I got when I used the new lens with my 58mm filters and the 62 to 58 step down ring. The vignette makes it look as if the lens is faulty. It will happen with the camera on tripod or handheld if you don't use stabilization. People at Beastgrip got upset with me because I criticized them. I had the Beastgrip 58mm Tele lens, the 2.0, and bought 2 Freewell VND 58mm filters on installments from Amazon UK. I was still paying the filters when Beastgrip released the 62mm Tele lens. The new 1.7 lens is better than the old 2.0 lens, but not enough to justify the cost of buying new filters. I was going to return the new lens. But then I had an idea. I contacted Amazon and explained the situation. They accepted the return of my 58mm filters despite the fact that I had bought them months earlier. So I sent the filters back and bought 2 Freewell 62mm VND filters. This way I kept the new lens instead of sending it back. Okay. Next step was to find out if the Freewell filter was the right choice. I shot this image with the new lens. The settings are the same. If you place your cursor on the end of a clip, and move it one frame forward to see the beginning of the next clip and then go back and keep repeating the process, you will see the clear difference between filters and camera apps. Lee is certainly the best filter, but it's just a little better. It's not worth buying it considering the difference in price and the lack of a lens cap on the top of a case that is so difficult to open.
Five.
The Nisi filter has a
Nisi.
chink problem.
4.
The filters. Try to open this thing.
Open it.
Oh, I can't.
You're strong. I mean, what earthly chance would I have?
Easy. Easy to open. With a lens cap. I shot this image with Freewell filter only, no lens. I used the Beastgrip filter mount for Beastcam 13 series. I will have to buy a new filter mount for the 14 Pro cage. It will cost me £50 and I will have no use for the previous filter mount, which is practically new. I added a 58 to 62mm step up ring to the filter mount, so I could put my new Freewell 62mm filter on the cage without lens. This way I can shoot with filter only, no lens. I do prefer filter only, no lens when shooting landscapes, buildings, etc. Look at the lens cap. It protects the filter. People at Lee seem to think that protecting your gear is irrelevant. I am sorry about the images. I shot them with my lady's iPhone, so I was holding the phone with one hand and the filter and adapters with the other hand. This was really a job for Mr. Fantastic. I think ND filters are more important than lenses for iPhone, because with a filter I can not only get more depth, I can also control the ISO and the shutter. And here I am putting a solarizer on the cage, without lens. This is the glass sculpture in a different position. Look at Mavis and P3 together. They look like twin apps. It's really hard to tell which image is best. The glass looks pretty similar in both shots, although it seems to be more vivid in the Mavis shot. Now, Tele on Tele. To use Tele on Tele, you will need to unscrew the Beastgrip lens mount plate and turn it upside down. Then you change the lens type in the camera app you are using. They have different names according to the app. First thing you should know is that you are going to lose quality because you will be attaching the Beastgrip lens to the Tele lens on iPhone, which is a lesser lens as it has 6 elements instead of 7, for example. It doesn't mean the result is not good. It's very good, but not as good as when you use the wide lens on your iPhone. And this is the old lens, Tele on Tele. The old lens has 3 advantages over the new lens. You can go farther with the old lens and also get a more blurred background. The third advantage is the lens cap. The lens cap from the old lens is better than the cap from the new lens. It's a shame that Beastgrip downgraded the quality of the lens cap. The old lens is the 2.0, the new lens is the 1.7, just in case it wasn't clear. I did have the Tele lenses from Moment and Sunmark, but they were not any near as good as the Beastgrip 2.0 Tele lens. I also had the Shift-Cam Tele lens, which was probably a little better than the Beastgrip 2.0, but the Shift-Cam lens was not compatible with ND filters, so it was useless for outdoor shooting. My review includes only what I think are the best camera apps out there: Cinema P3, Beastcam, Promovie and Mavis. I added Mavis when I was already finishing my tests. It seems that some company bought Mavis and they finally updated the app, which wasn't working properly with iOS 16. The images from P3 are clearly better than the images from about 10 other apps according to my tests. I will do a review comparing camera apps. Here I shot with both the new and the old lenses, using the wide and tele lens on iPhone. The purpose of this shooting is not to test the performance of the lenses, although it does show the differences. The purpose of the shooting is to compare the different color modes on Cinema P3. The settings are the same, the images are unchanged, of course. I used P3 mode for most of the shooting in this review, but now I know better. My favorite mode is 709 10-bit. P3 seems to emulate more of a filmic mode. It's softer, and I know that is exactly what most iPhone shooters are looking for, but I shoot news with my iPhone and want nothing to do with softness. HLG is beautiful, but I really don't have time to keep converting every single image. I am sorry to disappoint viewers, but I couldn't care less about LUT and all that, so there is no LUT in this review. I was old-fashioned even when I was young. I always liked to shoot the very best image and leave very little, if anything, for the editor to do. That was in a time long ago when someone else would edit my footage. I also believe that no matter how good is the LUT in a camera app, it will never be any near as good as doing the entire grading on DaVinci or even Final Cut. My lady painted this. She was my assistant during the review. Not all the time, mind you. Sometimes she would go on a strike and refuse to participate. The purpose of this test is to check images shot with different codecs. I did notice a clear difference between H.264 and ProRes, but it's not so easy to distinguish ProRes from H.265, which makes a much smaller file. My iPhone 13 Pro had just 128 GB storage. I was in a shooting when, much to my horror, I found out I had no more storage. I had my Mac with me, so I transferred footage to free enough space to go on working, but it was a close call. Never again. I never had that kind of problem when shooting with a broadcast camera because I always had enough cards to shoot 24 hours or more in a row, and shootings were more parsimonious during the time of tapes. The iPhone camera app once again underperforms when compared with a third-party camera app. Its auto-white balance is a disaster. Look at how blue the image is. It's very inaccurate. Now the world out there. I had to freeze this image because it was shaking too much. I am not allowed to use a tripod in the garden where I shot the next images. Last time I went there with a tripod was to test my Blackmagic Ursa broadcast camera. I was living my best life until a police officer appeared out of nowhere and stopped me off shooting. Meanwhile, 250 mobile phones are stolen every single day in the streets of London, and you don't see any police officer around when that happens. This hatred of cameras is not surprising, seeing that there is a limited freedom of the press in the UK. I know that for a fact, based on many personal experiences. It's not only me saying. The UK has one of the worst environments for press freedom in Western Europe, according to Reporters Without Borders. Let's forget politics. You just don't shoot landscapes without a tripod. but it wasn't a paid job and I had to do it, otherwise I wouldn't have had the colors, shapes and textures I found in that garden. I had all the settings for each clip on screen, but deleted them all. I want you to look at the image not knowing if I used the new or the old lens. I shot most images with the new lens, but shot some of them with the old lens. Can you tell which image I shot with the old 2.0 lens? The Egyptian goose was very angry because I called him duck. He wouldn't have it. He threatened to contact his union. I shot most images using Cinema P3 and the P3 mode. I would have used 709 10-bit today. Sometimes I used Promovie, and that is the only title you will see. This funny little chap here is a gold crest, and this is a great tit. I added a comic effect to the heron, hoping it would look like one of those old Japanese drawings. And here is cold water on my grill. This clip caused furore. This clip caused furor. Several film festivals around the world invited me to participate with the clip. They would pay my travel expenses, hotel, etc. This because they want to show how the worst actor in the world looks like. But I decline their invitations. I don't want to be famous. I don't want people stopping me in the street and asking, "Aren't you the worst actor in the whole world? Can I have your autograph, please?" Okay, this guy here is not a real person, but I met lots of friendly and real people in the garden. Let's see them. This is an Australian couple who read from the books they had with them.
Petition leaves the faceless men who run the game with the red and green blood on their hands, he said in the House of Representatives.
Of course, Frydenberg would have had a short list of who it could be. I called the donor to apologise for telling the story without his permission.
All right, thanks a lot.
These two are from Ireland.
So I think it would be nice to come here in May when the azaleas and the rhododendrons are flowering and the maples.
The sound here is really bad. I wanted to know if the Mackie shotgun could isolate the sound of a waterfall which was parallel to it. What I was thinking. Mackie is not Neumann. This young woman is French. I look in wonder at her image. She is very beautiful, and when she spoke I thought I was watching a French film. But that is not the reason for my wonder. It's the fact that I shot the image with a little camera phone and a tiny lens. Yet I can clearly see the pupil in her eyes and even the lines on her iris. It's fascinating. This is what Van Gogh said about eyes, but I prefer painting people's eyes to cathedrals, for there is something in the eyes that is not in the cathedral. However solemn and imposing the latter may be, a human soul, be it that of a poor beggar or of a streetwalker, is more interesting to me. Translated by Johanna Van Gogh Bonger.
Johanna Gesine van Gogh Bonger.
I can't say that name. She was Van Gogh's sister-in-law. I am from a time when mobile phones didn't have cameras. As a matter of fact, I know this guy who looks just like me. It's uncanny. He is from a time when mobile phones didn't even exist. Can you imagine that? This guy here is a gardener who likes photographs. He likes the old photographic cameras better. An analog man, the real artist.
Trees, mountains, waterfalls, rivers, then peacocks.
Nature.
Nature, yeah. I love that. And horses, if there is horses about. I love horses a lot, And that's it really. Anything photographic, I love it.
This was for a news story about bionic arms. This is an interview about Ukraine. It is what I call an image straight out of the oven. I used P3 app with the 709 10-bit mode. It could also look like this if I had worked on it. I shot this pistol camera in late July 2022. I did not know about Cinema P3 at the time.
Also auf was warten Sie? Ich hoffe, ich sehe Sie bald. Auf Wiedersehen.
This is the first interview I shot using iPhone and external lens. I forgot to put the lens on the cage, so I apologized, put the lens on, and started the interview again. The difference between shooting an interview with a Beastgrip lens or not is very clear. The lens makes the interviewee naturally detached from the background. Of course, the reporter had to ask the question again because of the people smiling in the back. I am still to see a person who doesn't react to a camera. A camera is one of the most powerful things in the world. Cameramen, on the other hand, are one of the weakest things, as they are a vanishing species. I shot this image with polarizer only, no lens. And here is His Majesty the iPhone. Some images look really impressive, but the iPhone camera app has several serious limitations. The first one is the sound. I can't use the phone with a shotgun, a lavalier or a reporter mic if I am using the iPhone camera app. This alone makes the use of the iPhone impossible for most paid jobs I can think of. Look at this clip. I couldn't do it without a wireless lavalier mic.
Hello, welcome to London.
I was still learning. Don't use those toys they have for iPhones. Use a real professional microphone. I'm going to make a review about the best gear for iPhone 14 Pro. The second serious limitation is the automatic white balance. Images shot with iPhone tend to be bluish. The third serious limitation is that I have no control over the ISO and the shutter. If you are at all serious about shooting with iPhone, then you must use a camera app. Although sometimes it is possible to shoot without camera apps. I didn't even know about the existence of camera apps when I shot this video back in 2015. I used a Samsung Galaxy K zoom. It had a proper lens with 10 times optical zoom. It's still better than anything else in the market today in terms of how far I can go without losing resolution.
I'm a lino cut artist. What inspires me most about it is working in a square shape.
I would just take the phone out of my pocket and start shooting. No camera apps, no external microphone, no ND filter, no external lens, no tripod. I can really say I made this video with a phone. It's a short profile of a lino cut artist. I shot this owl through a chain link fence. It would have been impossible if I had used any camera other than a camera phone. I bought the Beastgrip cage for iPhone 13 Pro in August 2022. May 2023, I had to get a new phone because I really needed more storage, so I've got the 14 Pro. Unfortunately, Apple has no ecological conscience and made the 14 Pro 0.8mm bigger than the 13 Pro, causing a tremendous waste of gear everywhere in the planet. The main selling point of any iPhone Pro is the camera. Apple is well aware that people using their phones to film like a pro need to use professional gear and will need to replace some of their gear because the 14 is bigger than the 13. The Incredible Hulk is very angry at Apple. They are the main responsible for so much waste. This is some of the gear I would need to replace because Apple made the iPhone 14 Pro 0.8mm bigger than the 13 Pro. I bought all that less than a year ago. It's a working life of less than 9 months. I don't have the money to buy all that again, so I bought just a new Beastgrip cage. I am surprised that nobody in the US ever acted on the matter of the constant and unnecessary change on the size of the iPhone Pro and its very negative effects on customers. It's bad for the environment, it's bad for customers. Apple, on the other hand, will benefit from more trucks on the road and people spending more money to buy new phone cases on the top of new chargers if they need one. And Apple is now saying on their website that behind every product is a plan for the environment. Who do they think they are fooling? Now, let me talk about things nicer than Apple's manufacturing practices. The Hulk, for example. Look at the lower teeth and the colors of the Incredible Hulk to see which one is the best setup. The images I shot using P3 camera app have more resolution and the colors are more accurate. Mavis Hulk, for example, is bluish. Beastcam does have a clear advantage over P3 if you are shooting 4K. You can zoom up to 2 times without losing resolution. I don't shoot 4K when working, so that doesn't affect me. Still, I think that P3 should improve what it has, zoom for example, instead of adding new features such as gimbal integration that very few are asking for on comments. One of my sisters lived many years in Italy. When I told her that this was the original Botticelli, she didn't blink. She just said, "I saw a copy at the Uffizi Museum in Florence." Anyway, there is a clear difference between the painting shot with Beastgrip 1.7 Tele lens and without it. Look at Venus Blue Shore, for example. Its colors are more vivid and it has more details on the image shot with the lens. I wanted to be sure, so just yesterday I repeated the test, but this time I shot 4K and didn't correct the composition. The image shot with the lens is less crispy, more natural, and at the same time colors are more vibrant. These are the tests I shot last. I used iPhone 14 Pro with the Beastgrip 2.0 Tele lens, which I call old lens, and the 1.7 Tele lens, which I call new lens. I shot everything using iPhone's 77mm lens, so it's all Tele on Tele. I shot some of the clips with Freewell VND filters, no lens. I have been working with broadcast cameras since the last century. Working with iPhone is a new thing to me. I shot with phones before, as I have mentioned, but it was never at a professional level. When I use Cinema P3 with all its professional and very logical design, I feel that I am operating a big camera again. I feel that I am home, but with the vast advantage that I am not operating a big camera. I am operating a 383 grams iPhone with body armor. It's exhilarating.
Exhilarating.
Exhilarating. I watched Faces another day. I marvel at the idea what John Cassavetes would be able to do with an iPhone Pro, Beastgrip lens, Freewell filters, and Cinema P3. When people comment on reviews about a camera app, they many times have a wish list. My wish list is very simple. Please don't add any more features. Cinema P3 has more than enough to shoot news, docs, corporate, and even films. I think the developer should improve what is already there. A microphone representing external microphones in the audio input setting, for example, would be better than the cable representing a microphone as it is now. Here you can see my hands and have an idea about the size of the toys. What really matters is Cinema P3 is far better than any other camera app I worked with. Oh yes, I know what you are thinking. Filmic Pro. There, I said it. Now nobody can complain that I didn't mention Filmic Pro in my review. I am very happy with Cinema P3 and I am very critical. You have no idea of how critical I am. Even about myself, my own work. It took me years to learn that I shouldn't criticize myself the way I used to do. I remember this girlfriend I had in college. She said, well, when I am with you, I try not to criticize anything because you criticize everything. If P3 was an animal, it would be a swan. Elegant and serene on the surface, whilst energetic, strong paddling goes on underneath the water. I shot this image in my 5th and last visit to the park for the review. I used a VND filter from the Freewell Sherpa line. No external lens. Maybe it's my imagination, but I think the Sherpa VND filter is better than Freewell 62mm filter. I guess it's possible because the 62mm filter was designed for photographic cameras, whilst the Sherpa VND filter was designed specifically for iPhone lenses. Freewell is going to release a Tele lens later this year. If it is as good as the Sherpa filters, then I will move from Beastgrip land to Freewell land. I will need to buy a lens, nothing else. I just can't keep buying Beastgrip cages and accessories every time I change my phone. Freewell promises future-proof gear. I was shooting news, docs and corporate before camera phones existed. But being a cameraman, I always liked to shoot something with phones. After I got my first camera phone, which was rubbish. The first time I really fell in love with camera phones was when I shot this peacock with a Nokia C7 in 2011. It wasn't broadcast quality, but I realized then the many possibilities and advantages of shooting with a phone in the future. So I have a story with the bird. My lady even gave me a small crystal peacock in my birthday because of that first shooting. I was so happy with that shooting. Wasn't that good? But I thought so at the time. Today, I can shoot broadcast quality image and sound with iPhone. But a phone is not enough. I need a camera app, microphones, ND filters, external lens, etc. I will make a review about the best gear for iPhone 14 Pro. The VND filter from the Freewell Sherpa line is the only gear for video that really impressed me. I look at the flowers I shot, for example, and feel that I can touch them. Page 18 of my script, the end. Now my conclusion.
Perhaps have a glass of wine, Preston.
I apologize for having to read this off, but I am the exact person I would never like to see in front of my camera. My conclusion. The Beastgrip 1.7 Tele lens is the best lens for iPhone on the market today. It's better than it's better than, oh for Christ's sake.
I can't even read it off.
Good.
You can't say it.
I'm glad that I can amuse you. I'm glad that I'm amusing you. My conclusion. The Beastgrip 1.7 Tele lens is the best lens for iPhone on the market today. It's better than Beastgrip's previous Tele lens, the 2.0, but not enough to justify buying a new set of gear if you already have the 2.0 lens, 58mm filters, Beastgrip cage for iPhone 13 Pro, and so on. I would wait for the iPhone 15 Pro before upgrading. Unless you are getting lots of paid work to shoot with an iPhone, or you are rich. I am not in either category, but I had to get an iPhone 14 Pro because my iPhone 13 Pro had only 128 gigabytes storage, and I had a serious problem because of that. I solved the problem right there and then, but it was very stressing, very stressing. I was up for an upgrade, so I paid £40 for an iPhone 14 Pro with 512 gigabytes, but had to renew a ball and chain contract for 3 more years. Then I sold my iPhone 13 Pro so I could buy a new Beastgrip cage. I will also need a new small rig cage, a new Beastgrip filter mount for the 14 cage, etc. Maybe I put the horse before the cart. The Beastgrip lens is the best lens on the market. So what? Do I really need it? Does it make a difference? Yes, it does. Then you need a camera app. I strongly recommend Cinema P3. It made better image than about 10 other apps in most shootings. Sometimes the difference was minimal, sometimes very noticeable. And Cinema P3 has a very elegant, very clever design with a multitude of options for shooting. Only camera apps with subscription will have a similar number of options. Cinema P3 is one payment only. I really like Cinema P3. I feel it's Christmas when I use it and suspect that the developer, who calls himself Tom Blackburn, is actually Santa Claus and works in the North Pole making this wonderful app. You might think I am exaggerating, but I guess very few people shooting with iPhone today will have transited from professional video cameras to iPhones. When I say professional, I mean cameras with 3 2/3 inches CCDs or CMOS. I work with tape-based cameras which were bigger than this Blackmagic camera here. You have no idea, if you haven't worked with a big camera, of how fascinating it is to shoot with an iPhone. Cinema P3 allows me to make the best of my iPhone camera. So, thank you Cinema P3. And thank you Beastgrip. Thank you Freewell. Thank you Sennheiser. Thank you Beach Tech. Thank you Picoger. Thank you Rode. Despite the SC7, this review was originally near 2 hours long. It was driving me insane. It took me over 3 months to do it, and now the new Beastgrip Tele lens is old news, and I will be lucky if 50 people watch this review. But I learned a lot myself, and that is a good thing. One of the reasons why the review took so long is because I had to go 5 times to a park until I could finally shoot a peacock opening its wings. And I was lucky because he did it in the best place possible, a tulip garden. Which takes me to Van Gogh again. Which or what, Monica?
Which?
Which takes me to Van Gogh again.